Hi everyone, it's Renee Yvonne with CompoundPharmacyMarketing.com, and today is Wonderful Wednesday. Wonderful Wednesday is the day when I bring you one marketing solution to help you grow your compound pharmacy. Today I want to talk about overcoming objections. And as you go out there to market, you are absolutely going to come up against a no or a doctor who is going to say, I'm not interested. And that is perfectly okay. It's all part of the sales and marketing game. But you do want to have something in your back pocket to overcome those objections. You don't just want to slink away, with your tail between your legs going, okay. You definitely want to be able to have a comeback or at least be able to understand why they're objecting to what it is that you're offering them. Maybe it's because they don't fully understand. Maybe they have a preconceived notion about how payments are going to be made. Maybe they really are just saying no. Whatever it is, it's okay, but I want you to do a little bit of homework to find out how to overcome those objections. So let me give you some tips on what you can do to overcome objections when you're working with doctors. The first thing that you can do to overcome an objection is to show empathy. Let them know that you understand what it is that they're saying. So, for example, you may have a doctor who says, I'm just not interested in compounding. I don't see a need for it. This is a time for you can say to them, you know what, I completely understand. I've worked with several doctors who feel the same way you do. They feel like they just don't have a need for it. But let me ask you a question. So your next step is you're going to dig and find out and discover why they don't think they have a need. I want to give you a quick example of something that happened to me when I was working with a client. We went out to see a dermatologist, and when we sat down, the dermatologist flat out told us, we just don't need any type of compounding. We've got it covered. A-okay over here. I said, okay, I completely understand that. I said, but can you tell me, since we're here, can you tell me a little bit about your practice and the type of patients you see? And he began to explain to me the types of patients he saw, some of the rashes he dealt with. And I said, okay, great. I said, do you ever come across a problem that, a traditional topical medication just doesn't seem to work? And he thought for a minute and he said, yeah, there is this one cream that I use and patients complain about it because it stains their clothes and it smells really bad. I said, really? Interesting. I said, do you have an alternative for it? He said, come to think of it, no. We just keep prescribing it and, the patient just has to deal with it. I said, interesting. I said, what if I go back and do some research with the pharmacist and we find that we can do a compound that takes away the fact that it stains clothes and it has a better smell? Would you be willing to write for that? He said, oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, notice how this doctor went from, I don't need compounds to, yeah, I guess I could try something. So sometimes you have to discover what it is that's going on in their practice so that you can present a compound to them. They may be thinking a compound is something completely different from what you're actually offering them. So by doing some discovery, you can actually determine if it's really them saying no or them saying, I don't know. And there's a big difference in that. The next thing to do is to anticipate objections because they're going to come up. Remember, you're introducing something that for many doctors is quite foreign to them. So you may want to anticipate them saying no to things such as, I don't need that. All of my patients love drug X. And once you anticipate that, and you have some really good things to say back to them. For example, they may be very concerned about safety, okay, especially with everything that's happened in Massachusetts. So safety may be their issue. So what you can do is bring it up ahead of time. Just so you know, we do testing on all of our compounds to make sure that what's in it is what we say is in it and that the right percentage of it is in there as well. We want to make sure that we give all of our patients FDA approved chemicals in our compounds and that it does what it says it's going to do. So before they even bring it up and take you down the long rabbit hole of what happened in the media, bring up the fact that you do testing. Before they get into a long diatribe with you about insurance, let them know how it works for your pharmacy. Are you cash only? Do you take insurance plans? Do you take Medicaid? Do you take Medicare? Whatever it is, bring that up because I'm sure that's going to be an objection. I've always thought it's strange, but physicians don't seem to care about how you're going to pay them. They don't care if you have money or not, pay me. But for some reason, they're very concerned about how much the prescription is going to cost on the patient's end. I always find that quite fascinating, how interested they are in how much it's going to cost the patient. But that's neither here nor there. Bring those objections up ahead of time and let them know. So that way, when they in their mind, if that was something they were ready to say, okay, I'm going to say no to this, they already know that you have some way to overcome that. The thing you want to do is to get the real objection. Now, there's an objection. There's the fluffy one that people have, and then there's the real one. The real one could be fear. I'm scared that if I write this and something happens to my patient, that I will be sued. That's a real fear that a physician can have. You want to put those fears to rest. Let them know that that is not something that can happen. That you're going to make sure that you take all your safety precautions. We're going to make sure that the doctor is prescribing the right thing. We're going to follow up with the patient and make sure they're taking it properly. So put those fears to rest, because that could be the real objection. The real objection could be, I just don't know how to write for it. So if that's the real objection, then make sure that they have prescription pads and sheets that spell out everything that needs to be done. And all they have to do is fill in the patient's name and the doctor's name, and the prescription is on their way to you. So finding out what the real objection is can save you a lot of time, because most times it's rooted in lack of knowledge and fear that something could happen and they're going to possibly be sued. The next thing that you can do to overcome an objection is to mention up front the disadvantages and to show the positive selling points. So if there's a disadvantage to writing a compound for you, for example, it could be price. Maybe it's not covered under insurance. It has to be paid in full. You want to mention that up front. Don't let that be something that the doctor brings up and now you're on the defense trying to defend why the doctor should prescribe this. Bring it up front and say, one of the disadvantages of using this compound or purchasing this is that it is not covered under Medicaid. So this is something that you may want to use with your cash or insurance patients, because a Medicaid patient may not be willing to pull out the cash money to pay for it. Bring that up, or tell them about a great selling point. Sure, they may have to pay cash, but guess what? If you buy a regular prescription from a pharmacy and it doesn't work, the patient just has to throw it away. The pharmacy does not take that medication back, and now they have to pull out another copayment. With compounded medications, most pharmacies are willing to tweak the medication to get it right for the patient, and they don't have to pay another fee for that. So mention the advantages of it, even if the disadvantage is that they have to pay cash. And last but not least, be patient. Sometimes it just takes some time. Doctors have objections. They're maybe afraid to write for something. They may feel a little scared that they don't know what's going to happen. Just be patient with them. Keep sharing information with them about compounding and how it can work for their patients, for themselves, their family, their pets. Let them know that it is a definite option. It's a great option, and it's a very viable option, especially when the treatment of choice, the go-to treatment, may not be available, or it just doesn't work for a particular patient, that there are other options for that patient to use. So those are my tips on how to overcome objections. And if you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you, I would love for you to do 3 things for me. Number 1 is to subscribe to this YouTube channel. I do these Wonderful Wednesday videos every week. I share information with you on how to market your compound pharmacy, and I also answer questions. So if you have a question that you'd love for me to answer for you, please put it down in the comment section below, and I'd be happy to answer it. Because if you have that question, a lot of people have that question. Number 2 is to leave a comment below. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Number 2 is to leave a comment below. What are some objections that you've come across from physicians? Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can come up with some great comebacks so that you can overcome these objections before you see your next physician. And number 3 is to sign up for my monthly free webinars. I do webinars every first Thursday of the month at 8 p.m. And I've done several in the past on social media, getting past the gatekeeper, marketing for pharmacists. This coming month in August, I'm going to be talking about public relations and how to get media attention for your pharmacy, positive media attention for your pharmacy. So you don't want to miss this. You can sign up for it over on the link to the right. In the meantime, I'm Renee Yvonne with CompoundPharmacyMarketing.com, wishing you a wonderful Wednesday. Bye.